live. I am reading out of Winged Pharaoh. It's a book by Joan Grant. It was her first far memory book, published in 1937. She was a prolific writer. She wrote 7 books of her own far memories. I just finished chapter 11 and this is chapter 12. This plays in ancient Egypt before the flood, before Babylon. Chapter 12. Arbeeta'S wedding. When I was 17, I went with my mother and Nea to Arbeeta'S, where we stayed at the house of my mother's sister for the marriage of her daughter, Arbeeta'S, to the eldest son of the vizier. I had not seen Arbeeta'S for 3 years, but as children we had often played together when she stayed with us at the palace, and Nea and I had always thought of her as a rather dull little girl. I found her changed, for she had become beautiful because of her happiness. She showed me the house she would live in and the rooms that her children would have when they were born, and always she said, "This is how we planned it. Do you like this garden we have made?" Just as though she and her husband were one person. It brought home to me the loneliness of my life, for there was none of this shared security. I should never become beautiful as she had done because of the love of a man, for the things of a woman's heart were not for me and mine in this life. After her marriage festival was over, we returned to our city and I lived again in the temple. But often I found my thoughts dwelling on what I had seen at Arbeeta'S, and in my heart was envy of Arbeeta'S shared security, and though I knew this was unworthy, I could not drive it forth. So I went to Nasera and told him of my thoughts that troubled me. And he said to me, "All who feel envy are looking to one who seems to have more than they, instead of looking to one who longs to be as they are. The cripple envies the swift runner and forgets the blind man who longs to share his sight. The musician envies the night-singing bird and thinks not of the giraffe, which makes no sound. The merchant envies the noble in his painted litter and thinks not of those who walk hungry past his stall. There may be 10,000 in this land who envy Pharaoh, but they do not know the loneliness of kings. The very things that you are finding difficult are the proud heritage that you have earned, and for you to wish you were not born to them is as though a musician were to throw away his harp." But Nasera, for years and years and years I've worked to bring back memory. Other queens have ruled and pharaohs who were not temple trained. When I'm away from the temple, even for a little while, the earth fever gets into my blood and makes me feel that priestly things are too hard. It's difficult when one is young. The joys of youth are sweet, but they soon pass like flighting birds across a summer sky. But what you are gaining here is wisdom that is permanent, and you will still have it when your body is old. But any in the land can come to the temple to hear truth. All can bring their troubles to a priest, whose wisdom will show them their own hearts, yet I must work to gain it for myself. There is strength and peace that only self can give to self, and therein lies the value of your striving. There is nothing that life on earth cannot take away from you save your own wisdom. Here in calm, where there are many priests, the light shines, and all may bathe in it. But in the past, evil has swept earth, and there were no priests to light their fellow men through the dark valleys of their troubled years. These things have been, and they may come again. You may be born in a country of the blind, where there are puppets dressed in robes of priests who mouth forgotten words that bring not comfort even to themselves. But though there be no other in the land who walks not in the shadow, yet will the wisdom I have taught you here be with you still, and you can never feel the loneliness that those who have sought not for themselves shall know. Then can your voice speak to the multitude? And some there may be who heard it hear in calm, and they shall seek it to quench their spirits' thirst for truth. So they no longer starve in a waste of words, as they shall do in the temples of that time. But always, my pupil, you must speak of truth. Cry to the gods for Atet and the light, and I shall hear you, even if I am far away from the earth. Fear not to die for what you know to be true, though evil ones should burn you for your words, and in your burning look towards the stars, and you shall feel me crisp, and you shall feel me clasp you by the hand. But why should these things happen? Why should the light not shine always? I remember what happened before Atalanta fell. Men of themselves create their time on earth. If they sow evil, they must return to gather their harvest, and the fair meadows become a wilderness. The future is in the hand of mankind. When they allow the light to shine upon them, they walk in peace, but in the darkness they cannot see their way, and they fall into destruction. If the time comes when men have forgotten the light, then will they live in a land where there is more despair than in a city where all are dying of pestilence. Children in spirit shall hold the crook and flail, and they shall have a terror of true priests, and when one speaks shall silence him with fire. When they have broken the mirrors of the gods, they will have brought a desolation upon earth. Then death shall walk through the streets, not as a beloved guest, but in that guise of the long dead, which chills the heart with fear. And there shall be wars, not of the light against darkness, but of people against people, who will have lost the nobility of leopards, will kill only when they are hungry. No. And there shall be wars, not of the light against darkness, but of people against people, who will have lost the nobility of leopards, which kill only when they are hungry. They shall slay not even for the lust of destruction, but because their thoughts are dead, and the jars of their memory are sealed, so that they die of the thirst, unquenched by waters of their own memory. The granaries shall be filled, yet the people shall starve. There shall be great temples, but the bread of wisdom and the wine of truth shall not be found there. In their affliction the people shall cry out to the gods, whom for so long they have denied, and for many years their voices shall die upon the wind and leave no echo. But at last, when they think that their darkness is of a tomb upon the horizon, they shall see a small clear flame, and they shall hasten towards it, and it shall fill their hearts. Then, as the sun drives forth the shadow of the night, the light shall return, and they shall cherish it, and earth be so brilliant that it shall be ready to become a moon. And as he spoke, he cleansed my heart, and I no longer yearned for Arbeeta'S life, but only wished for strength to shield the land of calm from darkness. Anubis, whose priestess I shall one day be, give me the courage to use thy wisdom well, that I may be thy servant worthily. That was an interesting chapter. A little bit of a tongue twister. Happy Monday. It's the 22nd of May.